This is not a normal podcast. Look around. We're on an island in the James River in downtown Richmond. Sharps Island, it's called. People camp here, fish here, party here. For over 200 years, Richmonders have built structures on this island. Inevitably, those structures were washed away, but the Richmonders, like myself, keep coming back, keep building, trying to gain a foothold. Why? For us, the water that surrounds Sharps Island isn't a barrier, it's a threshold, a doorway to a magical place. This acre of rock and sand surrounded by the city, yet somehow completely secluded. On this podcast, our guests have to get in a boat and leave the world behind. I hope you'll come with them.
Oh, nice. Oh, cool. In Forest Hill. Okay. Across. I've got friends on 33rd. All right, let's see. We're going to go below these rocks right here and then see if we can get back up. If not, we'll just keep paddling.
Yeah, that's the source of many of our marital fights.
Oh my God. He's paddling. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Like, I literally paddle since the middle of the boat and I'm not allowed to.
So wait, if you're in the back, that means you're in charge.
No, I'm not in charge. No.
Oh, gotcha. All right, hold on. Let me pull this up. I'm going to get out. Here, hold on. Do you want to stay dry or you don't care? Okay. Awesome. Yeah, we've got a fleet of old beat up canoes. The tide is going to come up, so I'm going to pull it up more.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, welcome. This is the downstream end of the island is the tidal one, sandy beaches, you know, like kids, especially when the water comes down a little bit more, it's just all fun to play.
Full confession, I definitely used to come down here in high school.
Trust me, you are not.
Yeah.
I love that. Look, we were just laughing about, finding trash in our trash can from someone like nobody booked it last night. It's super popular, but you know what? People use it and it's cool. I mean, I love that they use the trash can.
Use the trash can.
Right.
Respect the place.
That's hilarious that you were here. Where'd you go to high school?
Freeman?
Okay. So you grew up in that area?
Yeah, I grew up like in Shortcut, but I went to Freeman for like the specialty center.
I gotcha. Okay.
But we were always downtown.
Well-
My dad works downtown, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it was more overgrown. We bought it. There's like 10 families. Actually, a bunch of them are Westover Hills, so you probably know some of them.
I remember when you guys bought it.
It'll be 8 years ago in November. So it was like, hacking out.
Yeah.
You know, when you guys were here, I'm sure it was fully overgrown.
Yeah, we didn't get out.
You
Yeah,
just
kind of stayed
you
on.
got out, and
Yeah.
so we've hacked out what we could. But yeah, here, this is the
Yeah.
kind of the main living area. Crazy, right?
That's awesome. So you carried all these materials and then built it on site, or?
Yes, although I had help. So like some of this stuff, I mean, there's 30 bags of concrete in the ground, and you know the posts are 6x6s. It was I had a friend who had a John boat, it still does, and he helped me with like the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So I paid him to help me with we probably did 5 or 6 trips that were those days nearly broke us, but all the big stuff, and then a lot of it came over in canoe. But yeah, this was all this time last year, I was finishing up the shingles. By this time last year, I would joke with people, it was a cabin, and then I had to finish my art project, which was, the shingles around the
It
end.
is a work of art.
Isn't it cool?
It's really cool.
Friend of mine, architect in Northern Virginia, they're in DC, designed it for me. And then we just added the rooftop deck.
Nice.
Which may be a little bit hot for today, but
Crow nest,
yeah. All right, friends, we're back on island time. Today we're joined by 4th District City Council member Sarah Abubaker. Sarah, welcome to paradise.
Thank you. This is paradise.
This is great, isn't it?
It really doesn't get any better than this.
On the paddle over, Sarah told us that it's actually not her first time here, that she trespassed here as a high school kid.
Yeah.
So, I feel like maybe we should talk to someone in City Hall. Is there a statute of limitations on
I
that?
think there's a statute of limitations for trespassing,
I don't know, for Henrico kids,
I know, right?
should
Well,
we-
I'm a Richmonder. I'm a Richmonder at heart.
Okay.
I was forced into Henrico.
Okay. All right, well, speaking of Henrico, your day job is Director of Strategic Communications at Collegiate, at the Collegiate School. What does that mean, strategic communications? Like, do you get the summers off, or are you all year?
No, I'm all year.
Okay.
We're going even harder during the summer,
Oh my gosh.
just getting prepared for everything. So, I mean, my shop manages everything from the admissions materials that are designed to right now we're redesigning the entire website, all the social media, the photography, and then of course, you know, advising on like sort of what our collective voice sounds like, what we're trying to achieve as a school.
So true, like all-encompassing communications. I mean, almost the title almost sounds like a lobbying job. I'm assuming there's no real lobbying, but
No. It's more. I mean, it's definitely more about like how you position the school, how we can present the school, and show people what we see every day.
Okay.
And like kind of synthesize that into a piece of material.
How long have you done that?
For Collegiate, I'm coming up on 3 years. So before that, I worked for RPS doing the same thing. So I've done both public and private schools. And then before that, I worked for the University of Richmond.
Okay, similar thing.
Similar, I've kind of moved in and out of that space, but always, you know, communications, how you're messaging something, whether it's for fundraising or if it's for just marketing a school for something.
Got it.
Yeah.
I live in your district, the 4th district.
Best district in the city.
By far, it's not even close.
Yeah.
We'll talk about some of the reasons it's great later. The other 4th district race this fall was for the school board.
Yeah.
It was also won by a collegiate employee.
Right.
Which is
wild.
Crazy. Like, what's in the water out there? Right?
I mean, so part of what Collegiate, like our ethos is responsible citizenship.
Okay.
So we talk about how we're trying to create engaged, responsible leaders and citizens, not just locally, but in a global kind of sense. So I think it kind of makes sense that in a time when everything is crazy, two people who live and breathe responsible citizenship as a part of their institution are trying to seek some sort of input locally.
Right. All right, well, speaking of water, what's in the water? We have to talk about water.
We can talk about water.
We have to talk about water. I'm curious, you know, obviously nobody saw that coming, right? Like you talk about, you know, nobody's bingo card having, you know, water crisis on January 6th. It was 6th, right?
Yes.
What role did city council play as that unfolded? Was that like I mean, because you were sworn in, what, on the 1st?
The 2nd.
Second. So 4 days later, like, I'm curious, you know, like there's a lot of focus obviously on the mayor and the response. What role did you play?
So I think everybody played different roles depending on like how long they've been on city council, sort of what their backgrounds were. I mean, some of my new colleagues, I think like one of my new colleagues didn't even have their city issued laptop yet.
Okay.
Right? So like it was sort of a spectrum, and we were all figuring it out together. We also had lost water, and we're trying to parse together what was happening.
You're just trying to boil your own water, much less.
I think for me, I mean, so I can speak to what I took my role as is, again, as a communications professional, it was like, the thing I can do is I can't control what's happening at the water treatment facility, right?
Right.
And I can't control whatever Danny's doing and what the decisions are being made behind the scenes there. But I can control what I can communicate and assure to my constituents. So like I went out like within 30 minutes of getting the call and got on Instagram, which I hate doing.
Really?
Oh yes, it's terrible. Like I love like being in the background. I don't love doing like being on Instagram. But I did it, and I was like telling people what I knew, you know, saying these things could change, but trying to assure people with the information I had at that time.
Right.
And I just
so just try to communicate as much as possible.
I mean, I was sending, I don't know if you got the emails, but I was sending out emails 2-3 times a day. Just as soon as I knew something, I wanted other people to know, because I felt like, I think a good communications person always puts themselves in the shoes of the audience. Right. Like, what do I want to hear if I didn't know anything? So I just kind of took that as my mantle of like, all right, we're gonna communicate as much as possible, and make sure people feel like they're at least coming along on this journey with us.
Gotcha. So then, as time went on, specifically in the water crisis, did city council's role change? Was there like a niche, or is that just sort of like waiting for the I guess, the executive branch to figure it out and sort of...
Yeah, I mean, I think it was waiting for the executive branch to figure it out, but it was more like you got, like, not even Danny knows, right? Like, we're just waiting on experts to tell us, like, this can be fixed, right? So I think Danny was just doing a lot of pacing around, like we all were, and we're just waiting and offering support, you know, to facilitate it. But outside of that, I mean, all we can do is communicate and just trust that the experts are gonna get it done. And I did appreciate, you know, Danny did a good job of like pulling in. Took a little bit of time the first time, but like pulling in, you know, our neighboring partners to be like, hey, we're kind of in over our heads here. Help us out.
All right, we'll come back to that, but I want to back up a little bit. Your resume suggests you were destined for politics, right? If you look through what the Sorensen Institute for Political Leadership at UVA, Master of Public Administration from VCU, been on a bunch of nonprofit boards. You were president of the Westover Hills Neighborhood Association.
Westover Hills.
Westover Hills. Was elected office always a goal for you? How did this sort of germinate?
Public service was always a goal for me. That was always in my, I mean, it's just in my DNA and how I was raised by my parents. Again, sort of going back to that idea of being a responsible citizen. I loved politics. Again, my parents really raised me on, you know, James Carville and just learning about like how the machine works and how you can use government for good. And how democracy and it's or not, you're right. Like, we're learning that, right? But like my parents, you know, at 10, my parents were showing me how democracy could be used for good. And I had a love for history. And so I always knew I was going to be in government or politics. I kind of always thought I was going to be the kingmaker, not the king or the queen. But
you saw yourself as like the chief of staff type of
I always
position?
saw it again, like behind the scenes, kind of like making things work, wheeling and dealing. And I did that. Like I did that for a few people and worked in state government and loved it. I worked for amazing people. And it made me realize like, okay, these people are not gods. And as long as we need more people, I think I got in more comfortable with the idea of being in the forefront when I was like, okay, what matters is that you're a good person and you're in it for the right reasons. And you've got a head on your shoulders. Like those are the 3 qualifications to be in politics. I think they should be like that. You're in it for the right reasons. You care deeply. You've got, you know, some semblance of rationality and critical analysis, and that you know you care deeply about the people you're serving and the work you're doing. And
I'm always fascinated with politicians. You have conversations with them and then you see them, but because there comes a moment, like all those things you described. But there has to be a moment where you say, I think I could do that job, or maybe I could do that job better than the person that's doing it, right? Like the ego can't be totally stripped away.
Oh yeah,
from it, right? So at some point you said to yourself, I'm going to run for office. Like what was it? That feels like an amazing leap of faith. What was that like? When was that for you?
Probably during like Westover Hills.
When you were
when I was the president and I, you know, worked to kind of turn around the neighborhood association, get younger people involved and do more of the engagement work and realize like, oh, well, basically city council is just this on steroids, right? And oh, by the way, I really love this work. Like I really love doing this. So I was like, well, what? I don't want to go work for somebody doing that. Like I want to do it. And I'd seen, you know, and I think everybody brings their own piece of it, and I don't think that anybody's better or worse. I just realized that was what I wanted to do, and so, and I'm friends with Kristen Nye, my predecessor, and really respect and appreciate her. So when, you know, she said she wasn't gonna run, I was like, it was sort of like the heavens opened up, and I was like, you know.
And did you run unopposed? You did.
Yeah, but like I want to clear this up. There were people that were interested in running. But because this is not my like first rodeo. I went about it in a way that like I went to all those people and was like, hey, heard you're thinking about running. Tell me why you want to run. And I'll tell you why I'm going to run. And by the end of those conversations, 9 times out of 10, the people were like, no, that should be you. Like I was sort of into it, but like you're super into it, right? And so like I think just having those conversations up front and sort of clearing the field. And then, there were people that were like, yeah, I'm going to run against you. And I was like, I can't wait. Like, I would have actually preferred for somebody to run against me, because I think that there's this notion that, like, what I did was a cakewalk, when in fact, like, I went.
You were ready for these conversations
and I went,
those
like,
kind of things.
I ran harder than a lot of people who were opposed.
Right.
Like, I still ran, like, I said, I'm not running for now, I'm running for 4 years from now. So, like, I was knocking on doors, I was doing fundraisers, I was, raising money, I was doing meet and greets, sometimes 3 times a week.
Right.
I was going to every single event I could go to, just, and really focusing on parts of the district that I wasn't so, like, well known in. So I really spent a lot of time in the furthest, like, western reaches of the district, because, like, I knew.
What is
like,
the western boundary of the 4th District?
It is East Old Gun Road, which is crazy.
It goes all the way to
yeah,
the Henrico border.
It goes all the way to the
Chesterfield
Chesterfield border, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's actually one of the, like, longest districts. I think I measured it. It's almost like 10 miles
Long
wide.
and shallow in
yeah,
most places,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's sort of a related question. You win that, and by, I guess, any, like, standard definition, you're now a politician, right? Like, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the best connotations, that term.
Yeah.
But how does a person, like, do the work of politics, like, be effective at that job without being a politician?
I would actually, I don't know, I think I'd flip it on you and say that
please.
Everybody's a politician at some point in their lives, right? Like, everybody sort of, we're all, and I think the more comfortable we get with being like, I'm not all, there are moments of self-serving, right? I think that's what we think about with politicians, is like, that this is a transactional thing. Politics has its root in people, right?
And humans, right.
Right? So, like, we're all politicians. I'm sure your kids politic and negotiate, you and your
100%.
wife, like, all the time, right?
Yes.
So I think, yes, it has a bad connotation, but when you really think about it, for me, politics, again, is like, and this is different, and, talk to me in 5 years, maybe I'll become a shell of myself,
jaded,
but, like, if I do, I'll just get out of it. But I really do think, like, politics is about listening to people, finding out what makes them tick, and then finding the areas of overlap with what makes you tick. Okay. And then, like, driving forward on that, if that makes, and, like, that's not a political response. Like, I genuinely, like, that's why I think, politics and communications go hand in hand, right? Like, I'm constantly, and, like, I used to teach mass comm, and I would say, like, every question, the first question you should always ask is, like, audience.
Right.
Like, what is it that
Who's
your
the
audience wants?
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's politics.
Right.
And that's life.
Right. You've done this for what, 6 months now?
Yes, going on 6 years.
Has there anything, specifically as a city council person, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that surprised you about the sort of the business of Richmond politics?
Yeah.
Really?
And
this is someone who knew politics.
Yeah. I mean, I knew all the players. I knew politics. Right. I knew government, right? I never worked in city government because RPS is city government. But what I don't think I was prepared for was sort of how intractable some things are.
Right.
And, like, how, like, logic defying they are. Yeah. But yet they're like really logical people that could fix it, or like, like, we don't want to rock the boat too much, or like, oh, it works enough, and that's not like a disparagement of anybody. It's just like, I can see how it happens, right? Like,
I know, and I'm fascinated by that, because we all, if you're an intelligent sort of observer of municipal politics, I'm sure Richmond's not alone, but we live here, so that's what we focus on. Why? Why can't we, like, without, even if you want to get into specifics, please do. You can name names, but if you don't, I'm just curious how it is that we get to this point, and why is it intractable?
I think it's just inertia. Like, it's such a big, I mean, think about the city budget. It's grown from, total with operating and capital, like a little bit under $1 billion to almost $3 billion in 7 years, 6
right?
years. Yeah, it's huge.
It's tripled in that amount of time.
Right.
Or pretty close.
And like some of it is justifiable. But like it was big to begin with.
Yeah.
And so I think when you're talking about 4,000 employees,
Right.
multiple departments, you're thinking about there's trickle down dollars from federal and state money coming in. It's a lot to like I often feel like I pull a thread and then like
Right.
I'm going down this whole different rabbit hole.
Right.
And I think what I'm trying to teach myself is like that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
And don't get so into it that you're banging your head against the wall and then you just sort of give up.
Is it like is there like a lack of efficiency that's frustrating? A lack of like what is it that you found the most frustrating so far?
I don't know if it's
Or maybe
yes, I mean
frustrating
like
is not the right word.
efficiency is definitely like a part of it.
Yeah.
Just sort of again like just sort of logic. Like
Right.
there's just I just feel like 2 + 2 = 4, like that should always be
But
what
why
it
doesn't
is,
everybody see that?
right? Yeah, but like it's
Right.
sometimes it's 5 and sometimes it's 6 and sometimes it's 7 and like
Right.
people can give you 17 reasons why it is 7 and not 4 and you're just sort of like, okay, well then
Right.
I realize I can't like you can't
Right.
I can't win talking to my 2-year-old, right?
Right.
Sometimes. And like there's just sometimes you're not going to be able to win talking to some
Right.
people like that and that's not let me be clear, like the vast majority of people that work in the city
Right.
are like good people trying to do a good job that care deeply for the city.
Right.
It's the systems itself
Right.
that are the problem,
Okay.
right? Like I think that's like everything else is just symptoms of that problem. It's a systemic problem. So I think it becomes too big for anyone or 10 people, like mayor
Right.
plus 9, to do in an 8-year cycle.
Right. So it sounds like what you're saying explicitly is we need a new Department of Governmental Efficiency.
Jesus.
No, maybe not. Maybe you didn't say that. Well, like take.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Doge did start out on the Obama administration after the launch of healthcare.gov.
I mean, that's a deep cut that I don't know that everybody knows that.
Yeah.
That remembers that. Maybe I feel like it had a different name.
No, it was
was
called
called
the
that?
digital. It was called the digital
Something.
service. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. But
Yeah.
it was the same idea. I mean, look. Anyway,
Well,
I'm thinking.
yeah, it was a different idea, but they've hijacked it. Yes.
Yes. Like the government, the credit cards. Like that to me is like, okay, maybe that's not just a system. Like people abusing credit cards.
I think the credit card thing is the vast majority of it is the system.
Really?
Not like the system as in like, oh, how you input like what you spent and attach a receipt to it.
Right.
I'm talking about the system, like the operations of it, the process.
Like
right?
allows for
Like one
these kind of
person
abuses.
having to approve 40,000 transactions in 2 years is setting somebody up for failure, right?
Right.
Like, nobody, like if they spent their whole working lives just approving transactions for 2 years, they're not
Right.
going to like fairly get through 40,000
But the
transactions.
person who committed that transaction below them is also a city employee.
Right.
And might have bought a $480 suit.
Might have bought a $400.80 suit. But here's the thing, and I this is something I try to live my life by is
Right.
like assuming best intentions of people. And sometimes that means like sort of uneducated intentions of people.
Right.
Until they prove otherwise to
Okay.
me, right? So like, if you don't have a system that says these are the very specific things that you can spend money on in the
I
city
see
of
what you're saying.
Richmond,
Okay.
and these are the very specific things you cannot spend money on, and your transaction limit is this,
X, right.
right?
You're bound to get abused.
Like you're the person. The problem with the whole problem with the P card system is it's subject to interpretation, right? So that guy, and I'm not saying this is true or not, right?
Yeah.
But like, I can see a world in which that guy maybe couldn't afford a suit, but
Right.
had to go testify in court
Right.
for his
Right.
job. That's a job-related activity.
Right. He's like,
Is
oh, I
it
need a
his
suit.
like? Does he have to foot the bill for the suit?
Right.
Now, maybe not. Maybe the better thing to do would have been to go to a supervisor and say, hey,
I need a suit.
I need a suit, or I need something presentable for court. And the supervisor say, okay, look, we're going to get you a department issued polo and some khaki pants, right? Like, so, and I'm not saying that that's what's happening. But I'm gonna work off of that premise until, and there's always abuse, right? Like, that is, again,
that's what humans do.
That's what humans do, particularly when they don't have clear guardrails.
Right.
So I think for, like, again, this is the sort of systems and operations brain is like, first and foremost, like, let's build guardrails for people.
Right.
And then if they screw up, man,
then it's easy to hold them accountable.
Then it's really easy to hold them accountable. And that's again, like, that's what I've tried to model for the last 6 months is like, I'm gonna assume good intentions and that you didn't have the right tools in your toolkit to do the thing. When I know you did and you screwed up, I'm gonna hold you to account. I'm gonna do it publicly.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. You just got through your first budget season, right? Mm-hmm. That was back in May. What were your personal priorities going in? And, like, how do you sort of hone in on areas, like where you wanted to ask questions and kind of sharpen your pencil?
I mean, I wanted to ask questions. I did ask questions about it.
About
I think
everything.
I was probably the most obnoxious person on council during the budget season.
I mean, that should be an award, right? That's a good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a superlative for sure.
Right,
I don't know if it's an award.
Right.
For me, you talked about, like, nobody saw the water crisis coming, and I'm not saying I saw the water crisis coming, but I did run on infrastructure. Like, that was a big campaign priority for me, because I knew, again, having grown up here and understanding government on sort of all these levels, I knew we were sort of heading for this cliff with our infrastructure. Like, I knew we had aging sewer and water and gas lines, and, I think we're actually doing a pretty good job on roads where we've got, bridges, and that's symptomatic across the country at every level of government. And I felt like for a while recently, Richmond used to be kind of like gritty. Yeah. And
that's a positive way of putting it. The most positive
way
to put it.
And I like that's my favorite part about Richmond, right? Like, my favorite part about, there's a lot of things that I love about Richmond, but, like, one of them, particularly in our neighborhood, is, like, an artist lives next to a teacher, lives next to a doctor, lives to a banker, right? Like, and I live next to a magician. Like, I literally live next to
Jonathan?
No, although I do know Jonathan.
Different magician. That's amazing.
But those are, like, what makes this place amazing, right? And I felt as a Richmonder, and I think what there's been a reaction to of late is, like, a lot of old school Richmonders feel like that's been sort of glossed over. Right. And, like, aspirations for bright, shiny objects. Right. And, like, bringing new people in, which is dope. I love, like, the influx of people. Right. I used to, like, be the biggest cheerleader of, like, come to Richmond, and now I'm like, no, it's good. You can stay there. But, like, I think there was that influx. And so I use this metaphor a lot of, like, I live in a house that was built in 1900. Okay. Right. So live in this old house. I'd say 90% of my, like, discretionary house stuff goes to unsexy projects. Right. Like, I was literally up last night at 10:45 cleaning my, like, air conditioner coils. Yeah. Right.
We had the same issue.
And getting the HVAC system back, and we just fixed the roof, the slate roof, and doing foundation repairs, and then if there's 10% left for, like, wallpapering a bathroom, right? Like, then that's my, like, that's how I think about the price I pay for living in this very cool, very character forward house, right? But old and needy house. Yeah. Richmond's the same way, right? And I think, like, I ran being like, hey, let's get back to, like, the roof projects and stop like renovating the kitchen every 2 years, right? And, like, let's not do ribbon cutting ceremonies or, like, groundbreaking ceremonies, and, like, let's just do the work. in some ways, I'm glad I wasn't around when the ARPA money came in, like the federal bailout money, because like,
right. You would have been.
I would have been like, let's fix the water plant, right?
Right.
That was a once in a lifetime amount of money that flowed into the city,
Right.
where we could have done the things that like people aren't thinking about every day.
Right.
And I wish we had done that.
Right.
Because I think we would be sitting in a different city right now. And you know, we should be able to do both things, right? Like
Right.
we should be able to walk and chew gum at the same time as a city, but
Right.
like if we can't,
Right.
then we should do the unsexy stuff.
roof project.
The roof project.
Right. One of those projects in the budget, you're staring at. That's Mayo Island right there.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know how much press it got. I'm super excited about that. So Mayo Island is going to be a park.
Yeah.
To the people that don't know, when do we break ground? I mean, that's coming soon, right?
Really, really soon. Yeah.
This year.
We have to. So again, like I have mixed feelings about everything because I think you can see things from a million different directions. Like
Right.
I love Mayo Island. I
Right.
love that that's going to be a park. I think that's stuff the city should invest in. But like, man, that $16 million would have been
Right.
good for other stuff right now. But like, we have to use that money now in order
Right.
to like meet some of these.
And
like,
isn't most of that
federal-
grant funding?
Yeah,
it's just we have to
there's grant
get-
funding, but we also have to put up some money,
Right.
right? But it's going to be an amazing project, and it's going to be
Right.
such an asset to the city.
Right.
I just wish we could like have running water and Mayo Island, or modern schools and Mayo Island.
Right. Yeah, that's So can we?
Yeah, I mean,
I
eventually.
mean, you've got 3.5 years. Can't you knock that out?
It's on the list. It's on the list, my friend. We gotta do some really seismic paradigm shifting, and like how we look at things as not just a city government, but like that's going to be the responsibility of the citizens too, right?
Right.
Like to hold us accountable, to say like we're okay with not getting this nice thing,
Right.
because we know that we need to get this necessary thing.
Right.
And I think that's
Isn't
where
that
like,
always the debate, right? Like what? Because you can always make an argument for a shiny thing, bringing in tax revenue and more residents, right? And you need tax revenue.
yeah. And like unpopular opinion, we need bike lanes, but like
Right.
bike lanes cost money. So is it
Right.
bike lanes or is it schools? And like it shouldn't have to be that
Right.
like
But it just is.
that dichotomy, but sometimes
Right.
it is. And like those are the hard choices that I think
Right.
you don't realize you're going to have to make when you get into office.
Right.
Um,
That's interesting.
that I really try hard to educate people on, because I feel like if people are educated on it, then at least if they don't agree with where I'm going, like they understand sort of my perspective and,
Right.
and the position I was put in. Yeah, that's where like I think sometimes guerrilla democracy can be problematic, right? Because people
I like that term.
are pulled in for
It's a good
like
term.
an emotional reason,
Right.
but not given the full context of like,
Right.
what is that going to cost, right? Like, and again, like these are, so a budget, they say budgets are like manifestations of priorities, right? Which they
Right.
are. They're also like priorities are trade-offs, right? So everything, has that cost. So if we're talking about reopening a spring so that it is
I feel like every
publicly
one of these.
safe,
Sorry.
yeah,
Continue.
for people to drink,
Right.
and it's on city property.
It's gonna cost money.
It's a city liability. So if
Right.
you drink that water, we say it's safe, and
You're gonna sue me,
And
right.
you, let's say
Right.
you just get listeria because you had weird spinach, right?
Right.
But like, the last thing you remember is that you had Wayside
Wayside
Spring.
Spring.
You're suing the city.
Right.
Maybe we find out that testing sample did have E. coli in it.
Right.
Then you're suing the city, right?
Right.
So we're either spending money on that, or we're spending money on building an office of, let's call it like natural water
Right.
quality, or water quality.
Right.
We're getting an environmental scientist. That's not cheap.
Right.
Right. We're testing it routinely. We're putting up signage.
Is
We're-
Buttermilk Spring in your? No, that's not your district. You know where
No,
that is, right?
Buttermilk's on the other
That's-
side.
Yes. Okay.
But like,
Yeah.
so
Right.
like, my thing is like, just do it if you want to do it.
Right.
And
But
know
understand the
know-
trade-offs.
Yeah, no. Well,
Yeah.
well, drink wayside. Like,
Right.
no, you can do it knowing I drink whiskey knowing the health factors of that, right? I make a choice to do that. That's what I do with my body. You want to drink Wayside Springs? That's a choice you made to do that.
It would be helpful to know that someone that may or may not be you poops right above it.
It would be helpful to know if
that.
somebody
I feel like maybe
defecates
that could be on your
above
Instagram.
Wayside Spring. You know, yeah, I should, you know, that is probably a communication deficit for me. is that I have
right?
not,
Like that feels like a strategic communication.
Yeah,
issue.
I think the strategy was not to put poo-poo on my social media.
Yeah, but you know, times change. And
Times have
obviously-
changed,
and
right?
social
Like-
media personas change. You know, like that could be the new
Fourth
you.
District Sarah.
Fourth District Sarah doing some
Reporting
weird stuff
on,
at Wayside.
just doing some, GIS mapping on rogue
Right.
poo-poo areas.
Giardia creation
Hotspots.
hotspots. All right.
Yes.
Well, I mean, kind of related, not really related. Are you a parks person? Do you spend time in the
Yeah.
Chancellor River Park?
Yeah.
Your section of park, the 4th District, probably goes, like I'm thinking, in the river.
Yeah.
Where's your line? Does your line go into the river or does it stop at the south bank? Do you have any like hobo island constituents?
I mean,
This matters a lot to me, you can imagine.
yes. I mean, I represent all people.
Okay. But does your line go
Lander,
through?
I mean, I think, yeah, the James is owned by the city, so I guess technically me and Stephanie split the difference or something.
Okay.
Or I don't know, maybe that's just like the DMZ where the
Right.
Stephanie starts on the north bank and I'm the
Right.
south bank, and then the
So I
like,
spent a
that's
lot of time thinking about. See, I'm pretty sure we're in Ellen Robertson's district right here, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
you
she
are.
Manchester?
Yeah.
So,
You are.
but your district, I would argue, obviously this is pretty cool, but
Yeah.
your district is home to some absolute super cool island locales as well. My second favorite island in Richmond is in your district. Can you name it?
Goose Poop Island?
Is that the same as Cooper's Island?
No.
The one that you walk the pipeline
But
to?
Cooper's was going to
Island
be.
is
I was
amazing.
going a little bit more.
Which one's
Goose Poop is like you have to go out from Cooper's.
Oh, it's like north of Cooper's.
Yeah, like in the
Okay.
middle of the river.
Nice.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. I love. And we're actually.
I don't
just
even know if that's
now-
an official name of it. That's just what we
I think
call
we go
it.
with it. I
yeah,
think like
yeah.
that's probably what your
Yeah, but Cooper's
your
is.
2-year-old would
I mean,
call it, right?
we are at Cooper's almost every weekend in the summer.
It's amazing. Like, isn't that the place the best? So have you seen? I've written about this before. There's the ruins of an old treehouse that is literally 30 feet up a tree. We're gonna have to meet down there. I'm gonna show it
In
to you.
Cooper's?
In Cooper's Island. It's in the interior. It's so weird how it hides, and it's falling down.
So like if you're coming from
You're
our
coming
neighborhood,
from
right,
our
and
neighborhood,
then
from the
you
south
go
bank,
across
you cross the pipeline. You have to go along the south side trail to the rocks, to the flat rocks.
Yeah.
Halfway, let's say halfway to the
Yeah.
flat rocks, just cut into the island,
Okay.
and you got to bushwhack.
So you go off the trail, yeah.
You're off the trail. You got to bushwhack. If you go towards the downstream end of the island, there's a couple of absolutely gigantic pine trees.
Okay.
That used to have a bald eagle nest, but they're more like upstream of that and towards the north
Okay.
bank of the island.
Okay.
And there is the remnants of a treehouse that it's like my favorite Richmond mystery. Is like, who did this? How long ago did they do it? How did they get it? I mean, it's crazy how high it is.
I bet we can figure it out. I bet I'll start doing some.
First, you gotta
some
go see
research.
it. I'll show you pictures.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Cooper's Island is
the
But you are your district has some amazing islands.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the coolest things about getting to know different council members in different districts is that like regardless of politics or who they are, like everybody genuinely loves their districts and
Yeah.
thinks their districts are the best districts in the whole wide world.
Right.
So
Only one can be right though.
and it's obviously me.
Right.
Because it
just
is.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just is. Like the fourth is
It's obvious.
objectively the best.
Objectively, you can't possibly make an argument against.
Only district with Trader Joe's. Right?
And Goose Poop Island. How
And
do you
Goose
get both
Poop
of those
Island.
things in the same?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And a strong hobo contingency.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And a 30-foot treehouse.
Right. Ruins of one.
Ruins of one.
Yeah, you don't want to try and get up there.
I think we should try to rebuild it.
You do the next
podcast about Cooper's Island podcast.
I would love to do a
It'd be
Cooper's Island.
amazing. Can you
There's
imagine?
I will show you a picture. We have a picture of my son. He's maybe 2 months old.
Right.
And we've got him on Cooper's Island.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like
I love it.
stupid of us. It was so hot, and I've got this like tiny
This
little
tiny baby. You're like,
nugget.
what was I thinking?
Yeah, like what was I thinking? But you know,
Whatever.
It's awesome because like we live here because
Part of his history now.
well, we
Right.
want like my dream is that like my kid doesn't even ask me for a phone.
Right.
Like some of our friends are like the coolest
you
people.
have some serious dreams, Sarah.
I know.
That's a big one,
I know.
lady.
But like some of our friends are the coolest people, and it's because they grew up either in nature or like in the Fourth. Like
Right.
Cooper Saladay, he's
Yeah, I know Cooper.
good friend of
Whitewater
ours.
guy.
Yeah, neighbor. His wife is a really good friend of mine. He grew up. He now lives in the house next door to where he grew up.
That's cool.
Like he grew up with snakes and a giant 80-year-old snapping turtle that was sleeping under his bed for a year before his parents found it.
That's a different cat right there.
Right? Like
What a
this kid just like played in trees
Right,
and like
that
like,
kid doesn't need a phone.
Like, yeah, that kid
Yeah.
did not need a phone.
Right.
And like Cooper still is not a phone guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's just genuinely happy.
Right.
And he does what he loves, which is like hangs out with snakes and turtles and builds ponds and like and that's like so fascinating and awesome. And if my kid can be like Cooper, like
Right.
done. Like that's all I want from my kid is like that. So
Well, it feels like you're in the right place. First of all Richmonders are in the right place.
yeah, everybody can
And
do it.
Specifically, 4th District is a good place to start.
Yeah.
All right, I got a good one for you.
Okay.
2017 Style Weekly named you to their top 40 under 40.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a big deal in Richmond, right? How
Yeah.
old were you that year? I'm just trying to
31.
figure out your age. Okay, now we got it.
Yeah.
In that profile, they wrote that within 2 years of graduating from JMU, you had worked for Tim Kaine and Betsy Carr,
Yes.
probably among others.
Yes.
Knowing your drive.
Yes.
Did you know that both of them are Sharps Island superfans?
No.
So-
but Tim, yes, that makes sense.
That makes sense. That tracks. So listen, I'm going to give you 2 stories. Betsy Carr, literally within, I don't know, half a year, not even, a few months of us buying this place, sent like an official state senate stationery congratulating us
nice.
on buying Sharps Island.
She's
I was
good
that
like
lady,
that.
I was like, that lady's cool.
She was
You
good like
know?
that.
And I used to be, I'm no longer, when we were in Woodland Heights, we were in her
Yeah.
area, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm no longer in hers, but I vote everywhere and often, so I'll just
good,
keep
yeah,
voting for
early
her.
and often.
Early, often, and everywhere. People
And
forget
with
about the
multiple
everywhere.
IDs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
There's no way after this.
That's how democracy works.
I feel like that's correct.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
not necessarily in America, but in lots of countries. That's how democracy works. Maybe in America.
I think in America now
Maybe
too.
in America.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it called? Guerrilla democracy? That's what I'm
guerrilla
doing
dem-
there.
yeah, yeah.
I like that. All right, so Tim Kaine, I interviewed Tim Kaine for the Richmonder. I've done some writing for the Richmonder. I wrote about his book. Have you read his book?
I've started reading it. Yeah.
You got it. It's really good.
I know. Well,
as an outdoors person,
He's just. I mean, he's just the.
before I could speak a word in this interview I was doing, he was like, Andy, from where my wife and I, like our place, I can look down on Sharps Island and tell you if people are like, like camping on your island. I was like, Senator Kaine. I'd interviewed him a couple times. We used to email when I was the outdoors writer.
Yeah.
So like I knew him a little bit. But I was like, that's the most amazing thing ever. I couldn't say a word. And he's
Yeah.
talking about Sharps Island. So here's the thing. I have, dealt with his staffers. He's a U.S. senator. I guess there's a lot going on when you do that job.
yeah.
But I got to get him to do this podcast.
Oh, he'll do it.
I need you to
I'll
put
hook
in
you
a
up.
good
Yeah,
word.
I'll hook you up. I can do that.
And those people are so busy. I sent an email. I'm going to keep sending emails, but I need your help.
No. He would
could you-
love. Yeah.
This is literally
He would.
what he was born for, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, so when he used to take governor's office staff every year and
Right.
do hiking trips at like Old Rag.
Right.
And
And
so,
then he
like,
would go to Douthit State Park. There was
Yeah.
like some family trip he used to do.
he is like quintessential Virginian outdoorsman.
Right.
I mean, he's not even from Virginia.
Right.
But he
loves it.
He loves it, and he like authentically loves it.
And I don't care what your politics are. I've spoken to him enough to know that it is real and genuine, and that dude loves the outdoors
He's
in Virginia.
So we talked a little bit about like working for politicians and sort of
Right.
what you do and don't want to see.
Right.
And he knows this because I talk to him, like I model my political sort of approach to him.
Right.
Like I think if I can be half as good, half as authentic, half as the guy is legitimately a genius, like Mensa level genius,
Right.
but like never makes you feel stupid,
Right.
and has a way of explaining things that brings you in, and I like those are all things that like I learned from Tim Kaine, that I hope that I can do a good job of continuing, and he knows, like I've told him, I'm like,
so that leads perfectly to my next question, and you didn't want to say this, but his path, I mean, you're getting started on the Tim Kaine path. He was a city council person, then he was mayor, governor, senator, another recent politician, the current mayor, Danny Avola. He was the only candidate, smart guy, also a smart guy.
Yeah.
He was smart enough to know that he was to be the only candidate to make a campaign stop on Sharps Island last summer.
see,
He was here
Sharps
for
Island
Sharps
called
Fest. Every year we have
the
annual
new
party.
Iowa.
It's literally the new Iowa, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
He came here in
So
August.
goes Sharps.
Yeah, right. I mean, literally.
And road
causation,
voter.
correlation, right? Like all the hobo poop voters. Like
Yeah.
it's all comes together
Yeah.
here.
Is
so-
Soros involved in this at all?
Maybe Soros, maybe the Koch
Okay.
brothers, like
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
I don't know that
yeah.
They've
I've
ever
seen
been
them
out
partner
here
together, yeah,
but
yeah.
both of them have been here. Obviously, I can't
Yeah.
really. I signed a non-disclosure.
Yeah.
So here's what I need from you. I need a commitment that when you announce your run for mayor, in the years ahead,
I
that
will
you do it
never
from this
run for
island.
mayor.
Okay, when you
And you've heard it, so like it's done.
Dang it, I didn't want that announcement. All right, when you announce your run for city council again,
Yeah, good.
you do it from Sharps Island, even though
Done.
it's not in your district. I think this makes perfect sense.
I think this makes total sense.
It was a better question when you were definitely running for mayor.
Yeah.
from
How about
Sharps
this?
Island.
When I run for city council again, if I run for city council again,
Okay.
I think city council should be like a marriage. You should have to, like, you wake up and you make the choice every day.
Every day, right?
So if I run again, me and Ellen will come down here
Okay.
and do it together.
And maybe, yes, let's do that because she'll never stop
No.
being a city council person.
She's a beast. Yeah,
She's a beast.
yeah.
And
Also
for-
incredibly smart.
I believe that. For entertainment purposes, can we get Reva here too?
Oh yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Reva's my girl.
She's, I mean, all she's got to do is come up the Jeff Davis corridor, and she's practically home.
Yeah. We'll
Right?
get her here.
Okay. All right. Well, that wasn't exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But
Sorry, I'm not running for mayor. So never.
disappointing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when you skip that step and run for something larger, the announcement has to happen here.
Done.
Got it. It's official. All right. At the end of your term, what does success look like? 3.5 years, or 7.5 years, or
Right.
11.5 years.
So
What does success look like?
3.5 years isn't a lot of time,
No.
right? I've already gone through one budget season. I've gone through one of my 4 budgets.
You survived one.
Sucks, right?
Right.
So
So now you have a better sense for what success might look like.
yeah, like I'm a little bit more pragmatic about
Right.
what that's going to look like. I think if we can get, again, back to the basics of things, like if we can do city government, like if we can give city government a B- by the time I'm done,
Okay.
Like-
Like the general feeling in Richmond is B-.
B-.
Okay.
Like I'll even take maybe a C+, right? Like let's just be realistic.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
What do you think the general feeling in Richmond
I don't think
is?
Richmond's an honor student here. you
After
know?
the water crisis, probably D. Right?
I think a solid D-.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, I think a tagline I used a lot is like, Richmond succeeds in spite of itself.
Right.
So, like, I think we're giving Richmond a D because, like, because of this, right? Because we love Richmond and,
Right.
like, Richmond.
And it really does succeed in spite of itself.
And it does. And it succeeds because it has great people in it.
Right.
And that includes in city government. Again, I think this is all back to systems. So, like, if we can figure out systems and, like, get things working,
Right.
and we can make sure that, a big thing for me is making sure that we don't, I talked about, like, sort of the grittiness and, like, these, like, cool connections and relationships that people
Right.
have because they come from all these various backgrounds. Like,
Right.
if we can keep that
Right.
and make sure like those people can stay and live in Richmond and have an influx of new people and new ideas,
Right.
like that's ideal, right?
Right.
But I really do believe that like what makes Richmond amazing, and I think this comes from like being a biracial woman, is like I have a lot of internal conflict in myself, and Richmond has a lot of internal conflict in itself.
Okay.
So like I see it as sort of the same thing, right? Like there's a lot of history here that's really cool and rich and really awful and terrible.
Right.
And I think we're just starting to get good at like having those like
Telling those
dynamic
stories and-
tension
Right.
stories and conversations. And if we move too fast, we're going to lose that.
Okay.
And so I do hope like it's a Richmond that keeps a part of itself
Right.
while also building for like what the future will look
But
like.
yeah, but not the broken water main part of itself. Like
Yeah,
gotta-
yeah, like not the
how do we-
and yeah, not the like not
like,
not
how do we do that stuff right and not lose the good stuff?
yeah, and then we can do the other stuff. Like
Right.
then we can build we're going to build a Diamond District anyways, but like then we can figure out city center, right? Let's get some new schools online.
And
then-
amphitheater's pretty cool.
And the amphitheater's really cool, but
Right.
like it's not for the people. Like
It's
to be
for the people who pay money to go watch music.
yeah, sure.
But I
it's-
mean, you know, Mayo Island's for the people.
Mayo Island's for the people. I mean, Sharps Island is for the
It's
people.
for the people. sort of.
You know, the James River Park system is for the people.
Right.
So
Right.
I always say like James is Richmond's like community pool.
I love that. Okay, so we started a new kind of tradition with our last guest.
Yeah,
Was Ed Trask.
heard of him.
Heard of him? Noted artist.
Is he going
musician.
to run for mayor? Did he announce he's going to run for mayor?
Can you imagine?
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, you'll have to when you see his podcast. I think you'd want to vote for him.
Yeah.
If you don't already.
Yeah.
He's amazing. So we started the tradition. I stole it from another podcast called Diary of CEO. I don't want to get sued for plagiarism. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
The guest leaves a question for the next guest without knowing who that guest is.
Yeah.
Ed Trask didn't know you were going to be next and didn't realize you're, more than most people in a position to do this. And his question was, if you could sort of snap your fingers and make Richmond a better place, I believe he used the term a more peaceful place, a more loving place for the people, what would you do? One thing.
I'd make sure everybody in Richmond had a safe roof over their heads,
Okay.
like a place that was theirs.
That was theirs. So there's some affordable housing in there. There's some homeless services in there.
Yeah, there's some just like tenant protection,
Tenant protections.
gun violence.
Right, like freedom from
Yeah,
all
like-
of the things that drive people out of a safe home.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's cheesy, but like Maslow starts with like
Right.
feeling secure, right?
Right.
And like if we don't have kids that feel like they know where they're going home to, and like I saw this, working at RPS, like
Right.
there are kids that live in like motels on Midlothian Turnpike, right?
Right.
Like, and that is not a disparagement of
No, it's
them.
just-
Like their moms are working like 3 jobs,
Right.
and
that's
they're-
where they are right
yeah,
now.
and then like
Right.
that's where they are right now. I'm
Right.
like, and so again, like thinking about Richmond, sort of the 2 paths Richmond could take. One of it is like we keep on building this really expensive housing, and we're not thinking about how we're taking care of like Gilpin
Right.
Court, right?
Right.
Like that needs to be. That's not like living there is not safe.
Right.
For a lot of reasons. But I mean, even just structurally, it's not safe. There
Right.
are people in South Richmond that live in, trailers
Down there. Right.
that their trailers are falling apart.
Off Jefferson Davis right there.
Yeah. So I think start with that.
Okay.
And then everything else sort of builds off of that.
Okay, so when this is all done, I'm going to tell you who the next guest is, but you don't know it now.
Okay.
What do you? What's the question? It could be literally anything. It could be, what's your favorite ice cream? It could be anything.
Yeah. I think since we've talked a lot about our love for the river and
Right.
Richmond's outdoor spaces, I would say like, what is that person's, like if they could only go to one, I like the like forcing somebody into one thing. Like,
Yeah.
if they can only go to one outdoor place in Richmond for the rest of their lives, like, what would that place be?
Okay. All right. I'm getting a bit here.
It can't be Sharps Island.
Can't be sure. Yeah, obviously, because that.
Yeah, that would just be like that. Just like
everybody would just say that, right? All right. Way to go.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Did you have fun?
Yeah. Oh, I love
it's
this. Like,
a million
this is,
degrees?
No, this is cool.
We did it.